Hi, and welcome to my abundance7.com YouTube channel. Now I will talk about symbols, tools, and metaphors. This is popular in the use of self-hypnosis, for example, and if you want to achieve your goals, and society at large are also using a lot of symbols. Symbols are something more than just what it presents at the surface. We humans are different from lots of other animals in that way. We, humans, can understand symbols and use it for our own benefit. Symbols can be used almost like self-hypnosis. For example, there is research showing that looking at the Apple logo made you more creative, compared to a group of people who did not look at the Apple logo. So, look around you and see that almost every commercial deals with symbols or logos to the companies. This is because of the mind processes this information deeper, using more parts of the brain. There are universal symbols that people generally understand wherever you go. For example, a white pigeon is representing the abstract concept of peace. Symbols use complex and abstract concepts and make them concrete. A person can be represented by a doll, if you look at this voodoo people, for example. An apartment can be drawn on a piece of paper. Here you go from abstract to concrete. The most important meaning is the meaning that you give it. The symbol is charged, so to speak, when you believe it means something. Then it goes through your subconscious mind and can work like self-hypnosis. Symbols don't show the mind directly what you want. It has to process through the complex part of the mind. So symbols tells your mind what you want indirectly. That's why you have to use so much mind power. And the using of mind powers makes it work. It can be explained by stating that symbols are the language of the subconscious mind. This is what gives symbols power. The powerful changes come from the unconscious mind. You can draw a symbol, imagine a symbol, create a symbol physically, and a lot of other things. It is, for example, also possible to create a symbol using your own body, standing in different postures. You can make a rose with your arms and legs. This has a hypnotic effect. You could look at a rose, imagine a rose, but hey, why not become a rose by using your body? Some rituals use this language of the subconscious mind. Rituals can function symbolically and express an intent using more power of your mind. In another YouTube video I will talk more about the power of your mind in depth. So, why do people use symbols? It is the same reason why people use hypnosis, since it triggers the unconscious part of the mind. People, for example, who are into hypnosis knows that saying a statement consciously only have a certain power and effect. But saying the same sentence to someone in trance or in alpha, theta or delta brainwave states, it will receive more power and give greater effects. So understanding that symbols get translated by the unconscious mind explains why it can have these powerful effects and why people use symbols. Now, moving on to the collective unconscious. According to Carl Gustav Jung, there exists a collective unconscious. If a group of 100 people strongly believed in an entity, described in the same way, and really believed it to be real, they could create an entity in the astral realm, giving it life. Now, imagine millions of people believing in something. That's what religion almost are, right? An example of a symbol from the collective unconscious could be something like a river, meaning that if you are relaxing and suddenly you get a visual about the river, it just pop-ups in your mind's eye. It symbolizes releasing. Probably many of you have seen this while daydreaming. And in addition to symbolizing releasing, it's also symbolizing getting healing. Those two combined. Other known collective symbols or archetypes you can dream about might be the sun, snakes, the shadow, or a wizard. So, there are a lot of alternatives. You could create something new from the beginning, or you could hijack something that exists from before. For example, it's a grotesque example, but Hitler did this with the swastika symbol. And by borrowing this, the symbol got more power, since it already had been worshipped from before by a lot of individuals. If a symbol gets a similar type of attention, well, that is just like having a strongly focused intent or coherent thought streams. Now, you could give meanings to any objects, but it may be smart to use symbols that already exist and are already filled up by thousands or millions of people. It is possible to take anything and make it represent anything. Take for example numbers and give each number a meaning. And then write a number on your house, on the doorstep for example. This specific number that you have written on your doorstep could for you translate to only friendly being can access this house. Or you could give a square a certain meaning, and then a triangle a certain meaning, and finally a circle a meaning, and draw them inside each other, and it will have the meaning you give them. This reminds you of occultism, doesn't it? Or you could get a sword and give it a meaning, a skull, or any other physical thing. It's totally up to you how you want it to be symbolized. You can also take basic stuff like eggs, paint, wood, and water and give them special meaning. And suddenly you have your own spell, quote unquote. We have a lot of rituals and symbolism in our world. Think of confirmations, marriage, golden rings, funerals, also a lot of building like obelisk, pyramids, and so on. And people may put intentions into things, buildings, numbers, colors, etc. The most important part is that you decide what it should mean for you. Okay, moving on to power objects. You can program dolls and figures with focused intentions. Let's say there exists a totem pole that stands someplace for hundreds of years. It gives meaning to everybody who looks at it. Generation after generation keeps charging, fooling this with intention, feeling, thoughts, and attention. Then this object will behave accordingly to the sum of all intention. The power object can, for example, scare people. Another example could be a glass of water and focus on this water with the intention of bringing you health. When you drink it, it will have the sum of intention that you have projected into it. You can program things in all kinds of different ways. You could program pictures on the wall to influence you when you walk past it. If you have a picture of a tree, for example, you may intend that each and every time you pass that picture, you get grounded by the picture. Or you could program your bed to fill you up with energy each night you sleep. And of course, this works best with coherent thought streams, like a concentration, when you are in trance. Okay, moving on to inner symbolism. Even when you visualize, the inner picture on your mental screen is an extension of your intentions. You could use intention alone, without the pictures, but the pictures function like a tool to express your intention. There are a lot of good metaphors people are using. For example, you can visualize counting down from 10 to 1, and this gets you into trance because the number counting down gives meaning to you. They represent a concept. But of course, as I said, it is possible to go into trance with pure intention alone, without the counting down metaphor. What modality works best, like kinetics, visual, or auditory, varies from people to people. Also, what symbols and metaphor people use is also different. Some people can relate to more symbols than others. Use what works for you. This can be different for different personality types, and also what culture you are from could explain your different choices in the symbols. In Buddhism, they operate with the sound of Om. Islam uses abstract imagery, often on carpets, to represent gods. So, culture plays a big role. Another type of symbolism is something called role play. You all know what this is. This makes it easier for people to change themselves. Some people think it is scary to change themselves and their own thoughts and beliefs. But if it is a role play, then it is okay. Many people in the self-help industry find that fake it till you make it and modeling, copying others helps. Sometimes people use mask to symbolically get the attributes of the mask. You have problems in the movie The Mask? Yeah, it's like that. For example, using the mask of a type of person or an animal to get the attributes of the archetype or animal. They are often using this in mystery schools too. They're having a mask and doing rituals. Another popular metaphor is the white light representing healing. But, for example, if your intent was to remote heal someone, you could in theory use a black light and people would get help as well. It's the intention that counts. And the metaphor and the symbols are just tools to help you sort it out. Point out and show you a direction of what you really want. When reaching for changes, willing and wanting things, it is helpful to use your whole brain. As many parts and function as possible. Therefore, symbols, physical posture, and inner images are valuable to express an intention. If you like this post about symbols, tools, and metaphor, please share this YouTube with all your friends that have interest in this. Thank you. Bye bye.